Hello there, English speakers. Today we'll talk a little bit about Ivermectin and some new technology and the general resistance against everything and for you. Yesterday I talked about this truth, freedom and health, and talked about it a lot, and then we got an interview from wonderful scenes in Wyoming. So watch the live from yesterday, and there was some Irish chocolate stout involved too. So we talked about a lot of stuff. But let's start with Ivermectin. In Dominican Republic, they haven't really encouraged Ivermectin, but all the doctors prescribe it. Even their health minister, who apparently is a doctor, so he has prescribed Ivermectin. So they have a lot of COVID now, but basically no death. So that's thanks to Ivermectin that I hope come to every country. But there are really, really evil people that are and stupid people and brainwashed people. But there are some really evil people that are trying to kill people, and they don't want a solution. They really don't want a solution. And I think everyone during this pandemic is becoming more and more aware that these people walk among us and they hate humanity. And we just have to deal with them. I hope it's not too windy now. And next good news from Colombia. They have a place where they take care of very old sick people, and 59 of them got sick, and they didn't even have anyone getting seriously sick in COVID. And this was thanks to Ivermectin and another anti-parasitic, antiviral drug called nitazoxanide. Don't you just love it how simple it is to pronounce all these drug names? Why don't call it, for example, anti-wormithing or something like that? In Sweden, finally we got the statistics about mortality. If you combine 2019 and 2020, we have had the lowest mortality ever per 100,000 inhabitants. 2019 was a year with very, very strangely low mortality for unknown reasons. So not looking good, and it's not looking good for the COVID panic, of course. It's a nasty virus, and it seems to be nastier than all the other viruses, so it has outcompeted them, and people die a few months earlier, we can guess. But that's about that, and we can beat it with good nutrition and vitamin D and a healthy walk in the forest, for example, which this city dog don't like at all, because now we are going into the town, because here there's much more peeing, which is very interesting. The Swedish election had a small problem, nothing like in the USA, but the government website for the counting went down during the evening, and this started a lot of speculations, rumors about that there was something problem. I can't see how this would change anything in the election, because unlike in USA, every district's number are public, and we can see how many voted, and there are the same amount of voters that there are votes. So it's more locally done, and then these central systems, if they go down during the evening, it should. I can't see how it could happen, but I could have missed something. It might be possible. But the interesting thing here is they have done a police investigation, and it turns out the attack probably came from UK. So I love the Brits, but your government is a fucking asshole. First they meddle in our election, trying to destroy stuff. They meddle in our media, of course. They support the Chinese Communist Party. They have drug lords running their banks, HSBC. And then they try to stage a coup in USA with false documents and a so-called former MI6 agent. Yeah, like you can become a former MI6 agent. That's science fiction, I would say. Some tips here, really good list of the most important stuff from Zero Hedge about how you can get away from big tech, which should be your main mission right now. Get away from big tech and get to other solutions. First of all, Signal. Install it on your phone now. You can pause this video, and then you go to your app installer and you search for Signal messaging app, and then you install it. Very good. You can message each other and it will get encrypted from peer-to-peer and no one can spy on you. And I think it's seamless, so that instead of sending SMS you will send through Signal somehow. I haven't used it. I just say that you should use it, otherwise I can't use it. And then Odysee. That's a video platform somehow on the blockchain somehow. That's all I read. I don't know if I have time or more. Actually, I don't want to. It's the most annoying part of the day is uploading to all the platforms. I really like the search, I really like talking it, I really like to answer comments. I don't like pressing buttons and uploading and cut and paste and upload and write all these sites for just 1.5 hours of work. Just clicking and pasting and cutting and pasting. That's a horrible part of the day. So if you want to give me some donations, you can give me the donations for that, because the other part I enjoy doing. Then we have the Brave browser that I would recommend that you use instead of Firefox or whatever you are using. Firefox from Mozilla. Mozilla has become totally woke, globalist, crazy leftists, censorship morons. So I mean, you don't support Mozilla really if you just use the browser, but Brave has some extra features that you can support your content creator and so on, and it's just a good browser. So why not use that instead of Mozilla, that's in the hand of big tech. And I've talked about Gab and Minds. I really love Minds, and it never any problem to upload stuff, especially videos, and you can just scroll around and there's no problem whatsoever until I said it, and then now it's overloaded and things don't load and so on, but it's still usable. It's not like Gab was for a while when it was, yeah, you couldn't do anything. It was too slow because of Parler shut down, and it was just exploding with hundreds and hundreds of percent. Maybe you haven't heard, but in Vienna there was a 10,000 big protest against this COVID-1984. Unless you haven't heard it, but these protests are coming. I'm against book burning, but I can do one exception, and that's for the book 1984. Buy a copy and burn it outside of your local government. These fuckers, they not only take it as an instructional manual, they worship it as a holy book or something. So that's bad. But if you want to learn what all this craziness comes from, you should listen to or read Yuri Bezmenov. He defected to USA in 1970, and already about 1984, I think it was 1985, he held speeches and explained exactly what's going to happen with the society and how this subversion works, how communists are infiltrating basically everything. First of all, the education system, and then media, every organization, even private companies, and like Mozilla, for example, totally subverted by useful idiots. And then the plan was that KGB, that used 85% of their budget on this open stuff, and only like 10% were used for James Bond kind of I can't say James Bond activities and so on. That was a very little part of their work. The main thing was to control the narrative, destroy the education system and stuff like that, destroy the spirit of the peoples. And they target very heavily USA, UK and Sweden especially, and most of all Western Germany. But the problem is now that, well, for the communists, the Eastern Germans are vaccinated against this communist propaganda now, and they can of course talk German with the other Germans. So Western Germany is not that badly hit, except for, you know, this COVID 1984. So we have the very German sounding name Sucharit Bakdi, and he is an outspoken anti-COVID 1984 medical doctor, and he's interviewed by Nils Littorin, of course on BitChute, because you can't post this stuff on YouTube. All the medical doctors that present facts and science and stuff like that, they are getting banned from YouTube. But you can listen to that interview. I haven't listened much of it yet. I will later on. And I will not report a lot about the election in USA. There are so many news that when I've uploaded this, all my information is outdated. But you have a lot of links down there, declassified documents and so on. So let's see what's happened. And tomorrow is popcorn day, which, yeah, don't eat too much carbs. If you do, take some extra vitamin C and other good nutrition to your carbs, and of course don't drink soft drinks to it, because way too much sugar. And finally, nice interview with the CEO of AirBNB, which I think very correctly is predicting that there will be a lot of tourism out in the forest, except if you know, are a dog that really loves the city instead. Because not only because of COVID, but there are a lot of people now who have grown up in cities and they have never been out in a forest. So you can of course support me by clicking on my Airbnb link for if you want to be an Airbnb guest. But even better if you click on the link to become an Airbnb host. It's great, it's really fun, you get to meet good people. And if you have a cabin in the woods and you have someone close to it that can take care of your guest and do some cleaning, if that's a thing that your guests require, then you can make some extra money, and that's always good. And you get to help people coming out in nature instead of going to useless vacations in big cities where they don't really learn about who they really are. So I would recommend that, and it would greatly help me, of course, economically, if you use my link and start your sort of business. And finally, if you are in need for something funny big list here on Twitter of images of nature photographs that are being harassed by animals. I was laughing my ass off this morning, and excuse my general language, by the way. And with that, see you tomorrow. Tomorrow evening I will do live in Swedish, so sorry about that you can't understand it. I know that some of you are still watching, and you can still comment, and maybe but it will still be in Swedish. You have to wait until Sunday, and then I will welcome my English speakers.